What's up guys, this is Niteesh and I'm a real estate investor and a realtor based in Hamilton, Ontario. We all know how challenging it is to come up with the down payment to purchase your first property, especially here in the GTA and surrounding region. And even though you just need as little as 5% down payment to get into home ownership, it's still a big amount considering the astronomical home prices we have in this region. So let me share some creative ways on how you can get into home ownership even if you don't have the full down payment ready with you. But before I start, I would like to make it very clear that although you can execute these strategies in the real world, I personally would recommend to save up for the full down payment before getting into home ownership, because these ways are like pretty unconventional, and if you don't execute it properly, it can end up costing you more in the long run. So always do your due diligence. So first one is gifted down payments. This is one of the most common ways how people are getting into home ownership these days. Let's say you're buying a property worth $500,000. So you need around $25,000, which is 5% of the purchase price as down payment. Plus you might need around $8,000 to $10,000 as closing cost. So in total, you might need around $35,000. Now, instead of waiting months and years to save up that down payment, you can have your family gift that amount to you, and you can use that towards the down payment of the property. Majority of the lenders, even A lenders, are completely fine with gifted down payments, especially for first-time home buyers. So as long as the money is a true gift, meaning you don't have to repay it back to the friend or family gifting it to you, most lenders are completely fine with it, and you can finance the rest 95% of the purchase price through the lender. Number two is getting into co-ownership with friends or family. Co-ownership is buying a property with one or more partners who are sharing the ownership. This can be a great way of getting into home ownership without having to wait to save up for the full down payment alone, as you and other partners can pool up the funds required for the down payment and closing costs and get the rest of the funding through the banks or lenders. However, you should be careful while choosing your partners because their goals should be aligning with yours. Otherwise, let's say there is a major repair required in the house and one of the co-owners does not agree shelling out those expenses, then it might become a headache and it would sour your relationship with the co-owners. So it's really important to sit down with a lawyer and draft a joint venture or a co-ownership agreement which outlines all the possible scenarios which can happen in the future, so any sort of conflict can be avoided. Number three is seller financing or vendor take back, which is also known as VTB. This is a great way to buy a property with little to no money of yours. In seller financing, the seller acts as your lender and they might finance up to 100% of the purchase price, which means you don't have to go to any other lender apart from the seller. Or they might be ready to finance, let's say, about 20% of the purchase price, and you get the rest 80% of the purchase price through another lender. So in that case, it's a no money down deal. Seller financing can create a win-win situation for both the buyer and the seller, because buyer gets the benefit of doing little to no down payment, while the seller benefits on the tax side, and the seller also benefits from getting a consistent passive income for the term of the seller financing agreement. However, I would recommend sitting down with a lawyer and drafting a proper vendor take back agreement or seller financing agreement before you implement this strategy. Also, the rates offered by the sellers will be on the higher side as compared to what you might see in the market. And also note that no major lenders entertain VTBs on residential side. So it might be a challenge to get the financing. However, nothing is impossible. If you need more information about VTB or seller financing for your particular case, you can always get in touch with me and I'll be happy to chat. Number four is rent to own. This one is a very rare but still a great way to get into home ownership while needing no money down at the beginning of the term. Rent to own is a way to buy a house where you first rent it out for a set period of time, let's say around 2 to 4 years, and then after that term is completed, you get the option to purchase the house. Part of your rent might go towards the future purchase price. However, the monthly rents are typically higher than the market rents, and you will be responsible for repairs and maintenance even during the lease term. So always do your due diligence. It helps people who may not qualify for a mortgage right now but they want to lock in the house to buy later. These were some of the ways how you can buy a house with no to little down payment. Do you know of any other method how you can buy a house with no money down? Comment down below. Hope you liked this video and keep following me for more such content.